Hi everyone! Welcome to my channel. My name is Daniela, and on this channel we like to make crafts and cocktails. If you're new to this channel, I hope you stay for all of this amazingness and hot mess all at once. I'm super excited to have you, so let's get started. Cheers!
Alright, our first DIY is good for Valentine's Day or for spring, doesn't matter. All you need is one of these, I don't know what they're called, stove burner covers or whatever from Dollar Tree. They come in a 2-pack. I had already used the other one for a project for school, so now I'm using the second one. And you're going to trace the amount of about half of it onto a thin piece of cardboard. I was originally going to do this on some foam board, but it was too thick for what I needed it for. So just a thin piece of cardboard. This is the back of a gift box from Christmas time. You could use a cereal box, anything that's nice and thin. And then I'm just going to grab some of my brand new found wood grain contact paper. I just found this finally at my Dollar Tree after admiring everyone's videos and being jealous. So I was really excited to find this. Then I'm just tracing out that shape and cutting it out with my scissors. Then, as expected, all you're going to do is take that sheet of contact paper and lay it onto your thin piece of cardboard. The nice thing about cardboard is that, no, not cardboard, what am I saying? Contact paper is that if it sticks, it's really easy to lift up. It didn't rip the paper at all, so I was able to reposition it. Then I'm going to place it where I want it onto my little circle thing and mark it off. I am using a sanding block to sand some of the edges so that the hot glue sticks better. And if you work with hot glue, you know that doesn't really stick well to glass or to metal. I will tell you, this technique did not work. I did have to re-glue it 2 or 3 times, but I did try at the least. Maybe E6000 will work better, I don't know, but I didn't want to wait 24 hours for it to stick. So anyways, if you have patience, just keep re-gluing it like I did. Then I just flipped mine over and snipped off any of the excess, which is better than having too little. I'd rather have too much and have to clip off the extra than not. Then I'm taking some pastel green tissue paper and throwing it in there. I thought this would be easier than foam. When I made one of these for school, I did use floral foam, but it popped out even more. So I thought this would work, and it adds a nice touch to the rest of the colors that I end up using. I did definitely think about using some of that extra contact paper to wrap around, but it wouldn't have worked out, so I just kept hot gluing it. Now I'm just clipping all of the floral picks that I want. I don't end up using every single one that I cut, so don't worry. And you can obviously make this custom to whatever colors, flowers, whatever you like. Again, this is good for spring or Valentine's Day, so you don't even have to worry if you don't have rosy red or pinks or purples for this. Make it the way you like it. And then I just start adding my stems into my base. Again, since I didn't use floral foam, it was a little bit difficult, so I would recommend trying to move it behind or in front of the tissue paper. I honestly thought it would just poke right through it, but it didn't. So just try your best to stick it in there wherever you want to place it, and then once you've got that, all you have to do is secure it with some hot glue. Now I'm taking a sip of my drinky drink, of course, and then I'm using some of this green twine that I got at Dollar Tree just to add an extra touch. It just didn't feel like it had enough going on for me. I don't know, guys. I'm a colorful person. I know everybody loves the simplicity lately, but for me, I'm like color, color, color. So I wrap this around my circle a few times and secure it a few times as well. Not just on the back, but also on the sides a few times, just to make sure it stays in place. And there's even a spot afterwards that felt a little loose that I ended up securing as well. Now I'm taking a pick from Dollar Tree that had a heart on it. I just pull the stick or the base or whatever you want to call it, the stem, right out, and I hot glue it to my twine as well as to my base. I thought it would be fun because I have that like multiple string look on the bottom to have a multiple string look on the hanger. So I just cut 2 different strings the same size and then knotted them and then hot glued and masking taped them to the back, because I've had some luck, bad luck, I don't know, where it falls off of signs, and I hear that hot glue and masking tape are best buddies. So since no one's going to see the back, I'm cool with that. This is how it turned out. I honestly think it looks beautiful. Again, if you want this for spring, you totally don't have to add the heart. What do you think?
I am so excited, and I mean so excited to tell you that today's collab is with Unicorn-ade Designs. I've been in communication with Sammie. She's the reason that I was inspired to revamp my entire channel back in September when she did the pumpkin decorating challenge, and we've just really grown this kind of friendship, and I'm super excited because she has decided, agreed, accepted, whatever, to collab with me on this video, so please go check her out.
Unicorn-ade Designs has such a variety of amazing creations, and she is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
And on that note, let's go check what the cocktail was for today.
Alright guys, we are using some strawberry-infused vodka, some lemon, some Kool-Aid, some sugar, some water, some Kobe cat. First, get your strong man or your muscles, whatever you want, and some lemons and squeeze a bunch of them. I think we used 2 really big lemons, and then we just had some random odds and ends of lemons and squeezed them into a pitcher. I don't show it on this video, but eventually we do end up straining them because I personally don't get bothered by the seeds because I'm just excessively type B, but my honey does get bothered by them. So we did end up straining them. Here I'm just adding water and sugar to make lemonade. Can you guess what we're making? Unicorn-ade! Yes, that's right, unicorn lemonade. Could it have been more colorful? Sure, didn't figure that part out. But anyways, I took a blue Kool-Aid and some sugar, mixed it around on a plate. I will tell you, use a Kool-Aid or any sort of drink mix that has sugar, because I did test this one out ahead of time because I was terrified if it didn't work. And it was so sour. It was like licking a warhead. So use either sugar, mix it up a bit, or use some sort of drink mix that has sugar in it because, like I said, this was rough. Anyways, with my glass, I just put a little bit of lemon on it and then dipped it in there for that beautiful unicorn dust. Look at that blue unicorn dust on the rim of my glass. Then put in some of my strawberry-infused vodka. So all I did was use frozen strawberries, mix it with vodka, leave it there for like 2 hours, mix it in, and then pour lemonade on top. Delicious and refreshing. Now back to the crafts. This one is so gorgeous but so simple. It's like a centerpiece for a table. It's just got a candle and some beautiful petals around it. So I got this gorgeous, gorgeous hammered silver bowl from Dollar Tree that I absolutely adore, and a magenta candle that happened to be the apple cinnamon one from Dollar Tree. Took off the wrapper, and then all I did was pour an entire bag of white petals and some really light purple, like a lilac almost color petals in there, just to make it look a little bit more romantic, and some pearls. These are the biggest pearl size they sold at Dollar Tree, but I will tell you, what I'm doing right now is just placing them, and they would literally just roll and sink to the bottom. So then I just go back, take a little bit, like just a teeny tiny dot of hot glue, and glue them to some petals, and then lay those petals on top so that not all the pearls were just sitting at the bottom, because then you couldn't see them at all. And that's literally it. That's all I did. I know this was super short and simple, but I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that. I would love that for a romantic dinner with my partner. Intermission with Kobe. Kobe decided that he was going to be the crafter, the DIYer, the artist for like a minute. Now we're back. This is my absolute favorite. This stunning love sign. Oh my goodness. This one was the most time consuming, but it's easy. It's really honestly easy. It's just time consuming. So I looked up a font that I liked and just copied it by hand. You could, of course, if you have a printer, just print out the letters, cut them, and then trace them onto your cardboard. And this is a cardboard that's thin enough to cut. So it's not super thin. It's definitely like durable, but it's not so thick where you can't cut through with it with just the scissors, because I knew that I would really have a hard time if I had to do everything with an X-Acto knife. So anyways, I do measure out how tall they are just to make sure that they're all the same size. And then I go ahead and make my letters to spell the word love. Instead of the O, though, I did decide to make a heart, which I thought would be extra cute. I seriously love Valentine's Day. I love celebrating love. I love love. I love pink. I love the hearts. I love the cards, the decorations, everything. So this one literally fed my soul. I had so much fun making this one. So all I do then is just cut out all of the letters out of cardboard. I'm going to save you the pain of watching me cut for basically ever and fast forward. I did want to show you how I cut out the middle of the heart. I did end up using my craft knife or my X-Acto knife to make sure that I get it as best as I possibly can. If it's not perfect, it's no big deal because we're going to glue rope on top, but just try to do the best you can. I take my X-Acto knife nice and easy and slow and just go over the lines numerous times. I was in a graphic design class or a communication design class once, and that's what they taught me because they're like, I have seen people literally cut their fingers off, so just keep doing it at a nice, even pace instead of pressing too hard and then doing damage to either your project or yourself. So that's what I did there. Now I'm taking this ginormous round, I don't know, of rope, jute. I never know what it's called, guys. Somebody please just help me, teach me. Anyways, and I start wrapping that around my letters. I always go from the outside in. The inside is the hardest part to get. You could try going from the inside out. I'm not really sure how it would work, but this is the way I decided to do it. So I basically outlined the outside and then kept going inwards. It was definitely tough on letters that had smaller parts, like the E that has lots of tiny parts. I definitely had to cut my rope several times just to fit little teeny tiny pieces of rope or jute or twine or whatever in there. But it's really, honestly, it's worth it. I absolutely love how this turned out. So just do your best with this part. Also, I probably because it's spelled love, but on repeat, like kidding you not, I on repeat was listening to All You Need Is Love, Love, Love Is All You Need by the Beatles the entire time, every time I worked on this. So like I didn't end up finishing this night. I worked on it for the next morning and the evening after work, and I just could not get it out of my head. So I don't blame you if you need to listen to the Beatles while you watch this. Okay, so now I am finishing up my L, and I'm getting to those awkward spaces where you can't really fit the whole rope in it. So all I do is just cut my rope and just kind of estimate how big the piece necessary will be. In some of the parts, I just left it attached and then cut it afterwards. I will tell you, you get better in time. Like my L is definitely the gluiest, messiest one, and then by the time I get to the end, it looks much better. So don't be hard on yourself. It's definitely a practice makes perfect type of situation. Either way, I think it turned out pretty nice. And then in those little gaps, like I said, just fill in with small pieces of rope. Here is the coolest part of all. Oh my gosh. When you're done doing that, well, okay, not yet, but you're going to trim any excess or anything. Then you take a lighter to it and burn off all those little tiny threads, those shreds that are just hanging off. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this was so fun, but it was so much fun. Like watching them just like burn and shrivel. I don't know. I loved it. Here's how they all turned out. I think they turned out really cute. And originally I was going to make a love sign that went all horizontal, but then I kind of liked it staggered like that, like almost like that I Heart New York sign or something, or that love sculpture, which I don't know where it is, but we've all seen it. You get the point. And then I just mix some pink paint with some white paint to make a pastel pink. I know it's hard to kind of see in this clip, but it is pastel pink. It's not white. And then I am just painting the bottom half of all of my letters with this color. So I did end up having to mix it a few times because I didn't make enough the first time. I think it's because the rope or jute really absorbs that, so it takes quite a bit to get it to soak in. But I did try to line up all my letters just to make sure they're all basically painted at the same area, if that makes sense. So like, they're all lined up essentially. So I do use this color and paint all over my letters, and then as I went on, to be honest, as you can see, I do go back and try to fill in some areas of different letters that seem like they didn't quite get enough paint or weren't saturated enough, because in the beginning I was kind of torn, like, do I just paint it completely or dry brush it on, or what do I do? But I ended up just painting the bottom half as best as I could. And honestly, when you're doing this, it's nerve-wracking because you can see all of your mistakes, but it turns out gorgeous. You'll just have to trust me. Then I'm just taking some popsicle sticks from the Dollar Tree and some hot glue and attaching everything together. I first hot glued it at the front. To be honest, I kind of wish I would have just started with it flipped over. By the way, I waited like probably 10 minutes before it was all dry, all the paint, so it wasn't wet. But I am just such a literal and visual person that I needed to see it from the front side to make sure it looked good before I went on to the rest. P.S. I have a new cocktail. It's a new day. New me. Yes, it's the same drink, honestly. I just don't have the Kool-Aid on the edge. So anyways, once it's glued, I flip it over and then just use small pieces of popsicle stick to really attach it better together. Just feels more secure that way, like it's not going to completely fall apart. You could also add some to the bottom of the V and the E to make it a little bit more, I don't want to say stable, but just to be able to stand better without feeling nervous about it. It stands well. It just, like, I don't know, it makes me nervous. But either way, oh my gosh, you guys, this one turned out stunning. It's literally my favorite product of all three of them. I'm so glad I made it. It was totally worth the time of wrapping that rope over and over and over.
In case you guys are wondering, I'm wearing my girl gang earrings because I'm feeling real powerful as a woman. Teaming up with Sammie for Valentine's Day. Who run the world? Girls.